All right, welcome back here to Walk-Ons in beautiful downtown Viera. Apologies there. We simply just got cut off, and it happens. Unfortunately, it happens. We are here with Cocoa Beach Minutemen head coach Ben Waldrop. We're going to go regular Facebook Live, so you're not going to see all the fancy schmancy graphics moving forward here. Coach, we were talking about shifting the culture and what you liked about what your team was able to do in the spring, and you were saying that looking in your student-athletes' eyes, that you could really feel like they were into where you guys were wanting them to be.
Yeah, and they were determined, and you got to start. You got to start well. You don't have to, but that's what you want. It's ideal, especially if it's going to be a close game. But you also have to be able to handle adversity when it's close or it's a bad play. We had a center. He was a seventh grader, actually started, and I think on the second series we were backed up and we had a bad snap, and that's how they got the safety there. And that was the only points of the game. The whole second quarter we're playing on their side of the field. If we play 4 quarters, feel like confident, we would have won that game. But that's what spring's for. But some other things that really stood out, we beat MCC in the second half pretty easily. That was big for us. I think it's the first time we beat them in over 10 years. One of my coaches said. I haven't looked it up. But that's big. Right?
That's huge.
Also, too, I wanted to throw in there that some things that you want to see, being a defensive coach at heart, right, is we were very physical. The most physical I've seen since I've been there. We were flying to the ball. And that was tremendous. So that was a huge encouragement for us over the summer.
You know, Coach, who are, as we get set to come into camp next week, I know you're very excited. Who are some let's start on the defensive side of the football. And I know you probably have a lot of guys that go both ways, but who are some of the student athletes that are going to stand out this year for you and that this program is looking to continue that shifting culture with?
Okay, I'm glad you asked. So, yes, you're right. We do have a lot of kids that play on both sides of the ball. We try to have them focus mostly on one side, and that way they don't have to play the entire game on both sides of the ball. Some of the defensive standouts that I'm looking for this year, Mason Bryant, he plays defensive end and linebacker. Angel Stanley is a really solid corner for us. Kyler Coe, he's young, but he plays in the secondary as well, and he's going to expect a lot of plays out of him. Our middle linebacker, Mitch McNeely, is a super explosive kid, and he's real super talented. We expect a big year out of him. Roy Miller, Zane Shearer, 2 other linebackers, and then we have another defensive lineman, Christian Bolton. He's kind of an unknown guy that I think is going to make a lot of plays.
Kyler Coe. There's a kid I'm seeing a lot on social media. I'm watching him lift weights. He really seems he's just a sophomore, right?
Yes, he's going into 10th grade. And we have a lot of kids that are young that were playing significant snaps.
Coach, I tell you, when you got back into taking Cocoa Beach, I remember interviewing you. And I said to you, why was this the job that was right for you now? And your answer was phenomenal in what you gave me and how you felt it, and you just knew that you could go in there and help this program, faith, family, and build this. What advice, because with as many coaching changes as there are in this county, what advice do you have for coaches that may be considering to take? Look, you took a job that the program had 1 or 2 wins in the last 4 years. But the love in your eyes and the passion in you could just feel it coming from you in that interview. What advice would you have for a coach who would say, well, I don't want that to be the job I take because that program doesn't win or this? What advice would you have for them?
Well, a couple things. One is that just like teaching and some other professions, coaching is a calling, so you either have a passion for it or you don't. And there's a lot of good guys in the business. They care about kids. And guess what? There's kids at every school, and there's kids at every community that deserve to have a quality person in their life to pour into them, to be a good role model for them, and to help them be the best they can be and pursue their goals and dreams. And so on that note, what I would give somebody that's maybe considering taking over a program that's not established is just first and foremost, serve that school. I think too many guys nowadays, because of there's so much movement and stuff going around, they have these ideas. I'm going to go here and I'm going to bring these kids. Well, that's the wrong idea. If you go to a place, you're going to that place. So start there. There's a lot of kids already there that really need you, and there's that saying, if you build it, they will come.
Right.
That's not if they come, you will build it. Right. I mean, I'm gonna turn into Rich on you.
Yeah, that's fine.
With all these one-liners, right?
That's good.
Okay, and my boy Rich, I love him. The other thing, and I'm losing my train of thought here.
He's talking about Coach Rich Brzezinski with the one-liners. So I just wanted to make sure.
That's my boy.
I love Rich. Rich is great.
There was one other point I wanted to make. Maybe it'll come to me in a
about
second.
Taking that, yeah. But speaking of Rich, what Facebook post
good
up to
example right there.
What's that?
That's a good example right there.
Yeah,
going to MCC,
right,
and he's all in,
right.
And you know what? I think he's the right man for the job.
Absolutely,
and he's gonna turn that place around.
I want to also mention real quick, and we'll talk about it. He needs help coaches too, so get in touch with Rich if you want to coach. Stipend available. You were the second head coach ever in the history of Viera High School. Since the day you took that job to the time you took this one, you've coached in a lot of great programs in this county, Merritt Island, Rockledge, et cetera, et cetera. What have you taken from each program that you brought here?
Well, I think we all need to be focused on personal growth all our lives, okay? And I'm no different. And looking back on my journey, my coaching career, that I've grown personally, I've made mistakes, and sometimes things don't work out and you didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
Right? A good example of that is, some of the reflection I had for one of those jobs was, I said, I had good intentions. I had, good principles and values, and intentions were good, But, if it doesn't, you don't get results that you want, then you really need to reflect hard and see, maybe you did mess up somewhere along the way. Just because you're right about something doesn't mean you delivered it the right tone at the right time. One of the biggest things I've learned is don't burn bridges, because you're not going to be best friends with everybody. You're not going to see eye to eye with everybody, but you're only hurting yourself if you burn that bridge. Just so that's one thing I've learned, but. It's been quite a journey, to be honest with you. I had a really good time at Merritt Island. We had some really good years, 11 seasons, and I have a lot of memories, and I have a lot of relationships.
Yeah,
relationships, and that's the thing, and not just with players but coaches that
right.
I worked with, and getting to experience how that works. I've always said, that's what I want. At Cocoa Beach. Our goal is to help foster building relationships, making memories, and building character. And those are the things that last. There's some really successful coaches out there that will tell you, and I'm sure you're a sports fan. They have books, movies, all that's out there. There's a lot of them that will tell you, rings collect dust, but relationships last forever.
Amen. Absolutely, amen. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was the Cocoa Beach community and how just that alumni, Minutemen, and now you've got a new track there, and just talk about the Cocoa Beach community, the school, and what it is to be a part of it.
Being part of the Cocoa Beach community has been an honor, for one, okay, and it's been just a thrill. It's fun. It's iconic. Cocoa Beach is an iconic community.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't know, because if you just transit, you go in and out, and you enjoy the what it has to offer, maybe restaurants or the beach and things like that. What you don't see is that there is a really close, tight-knit community.
Yeah.
That's in there in those neighborhoods, and they have and they absolutely love the community.
Mm-hmm.
They love the school, and they love those kids. It has just been mind-blowing how many people just come out of the woodwork. I mean, I have not had to work hard at all to raise support.
Right.
They come out of nowhere.
Right.
I'm constantly running into people, and one of the awesome things about it is there's no strings attached.
Right.
They love all the kids. They want all the programs to succeed. It's not, we only care about this and not that, and so, yes, some programs are going to have ups and downs and stuff like that, but they truly do. I mean, whether it's Kiwanis, whether it's Rotary, whether it's VFW, whether it's Elks Lodge, whether it's the businesses, and they give to every program that there is. It would blow your mind how much money that they contribute to those kids.
I tell you, it's always impressed me, like even talking to Michael Lowe. I was doing a segment on his show last year prior to doing the Game of the Week on Brevard Sports Network, and just the love that the alumni and everybody has for that program and that community, and how excited they are to have you over there as their head coach. As we get set to wrap up here, Coach, what are the expectations for year 2? And I want to give you an opportunity to give a shout-out to some of your coaches, too.
Okay, great. Yeah, so I had an opportunity to talk about the defensive side of the ball. So let me just talk about some of the offensive standouts that we have for this year. Alan Bailey's a running back that has come in, and he's going to just light it up. And
where's he from, Coach?
Cocoa.
Yeah, okay.
Peyton Ellis was our running back in the spring game, and people calling, texting, who is this kid? He's going to really have a great year. And AJ Barranco at receiver, Brennan Burke, Aaron Garber, two-way star. Logan Sylvia is poised to step in at quarterback right now. And Leon Shishiako was he's an all-around athlete, plays on both sides of the ball, and our kicker, punter. He was an all county runner-up, honorable mention last year. And Otto Cervini is on the offensive line, and he'll probably be one of our captains after it's all said and done. And I have a tremendous staff. I'm very blessed to have. I'm not a believer that you have to have this many coaches. Okay, I used to be that way. I changed my mind over the years. It's not about having a certain number of coaches. It's about having the right coaches, the right people, the right fit, and have so many coaches that add so much value to our program. Guy Schnars, our defensive coordinator, worked with him for many, many years.
Yeah.
He was my first phone call when I got the job, and I called him. I said, "Hey, I'm going to the beach." I said, "Will you come?" He says, "I'm there." And it was
no hesitation.
Yeah. And Zach Yates, that's a name that he's new to the area. He coached with us last year. Phenomenal offensive coordinator. You're going to finally get to see, I think, this year what kind of coach he is, because we've got a lot of good pieces in place to really be able to utilize a lot of the offense. Max Amato, Travis
Love
Anderson.
Max.
Yeah, great guy. He bleeds Beach, Beach Pride. Travis Anderson, Nico Balistrieri, Trent Bryant, Dan Coe, Tanner Fleming, Dwayne Kennedy, Pete Picarillo, and Dan Sylvia. That's our staff right now, and like I said, it's a lot of people. To me, it sounds like a lot. It is a lot. A lot of guys have a lot of big staffs. I didn't expect it to happen this year. It's just the way it worked out. The
more the merrier, I think, when it comes to football, isn't it?
No, definitely not. Definitely
Really?
not, because because just like the team has to be one heartbeat, they have to work together. It starts with the coaching staff.
Is that hard to do when you have a lot of assistants?
It can be.
Yeah.
It can be if you rush it and you try, because just because somebody has credentials and they have the experience and they have there's some guys that are really good coaches, but they may not. There may be personality conflict with each other and stuff like that. The kids pick up on it. So it's really important in my view that you have you're a strong team. That if you're going to have a strong team, that means you have to be together. You have to play together, and it doesn't mean that everybody has to be best friends, but you have to be like family. And when you're in a family, this is one of our pillars of our program. When you're in a family, just because people don't always get along doesn't mean you can't be family.
Right.
You don't always get along with your siblings, right? You don't always get to pick your family.
Right.
But at the end of the day, if there's someone who's truly your family, you got their back when they need you. And so that's the kind of team that we're trying to build, and build around that. That's one of our pillars, and I think that's really important for your staff. But talking about the journey. When I have been part of staffs that actually get along and like each other and things like that, man, those are the best seasons. Those are the fun years. I have so many of my best friends that I wish they could still coach with them on group chats and stuff like that I've coached with before. And so we have that kind of staff this year. It's going to be a good time.
Coach, I'm looking at your schedule: Titusville, Berean Christian, Taylor.
No,
I was going to say that's. If you look at Max Preps, it says St. Thomas Aquinas. Obviously, just asking, Coach. I didn't know what was going on there. Halifax Academy, Palm Beach Christian Prep, Cornerstone Charter Academy, Out of Door Academy, and I think a game that's going to be fascinating to watch. That game against Melbourne Central Catholic, Coach. I'm very excited about that. The SSAC playoffs, the championship, all of that. I love the conference. Your thoughts on it?
Yeah, no, it's a great move for us and where we are right now as a program. You didn't ask me about the Metro Suburban.
Well, tell me. What's your thoughts on it?
The first comment on that is that, to be subjective, my role as head coach at Cocoa Beach is to make the decisions that's best for Cocoa Beach.
Right.
And the new system, there's winners and losers in it. And if it had been the way that the cards were dealt, if it had been advantageous for us, then we would have went for it. But it was definitely a bad draw for us. We're a school of 650, 700 high school students.
Right.
2S is population 601 to 1444. That means, and locally the majority of those schools are around the 14. So our district would have been schools that are over twice our size, and that doesn't make any sense. And there was a way that they could have done it, I think, that would have made more sense. And and I made those recommendations just like other people.
I'm curious. What were they? What would you recommend?
Well, first of all, I was voting against it because I was ready to go back into FHSAA. Mm-hmm. We would have been 3A, mm-hmm. And yes, there's some juggernauts in down in South Florida in 3A. But that's exactly what I went through all those years at Merritt Island. In 11 seasons we were there. We made the playoffs 10 times.
Right.
Okay. And we lost 3 times to Bishop Moore. We lost once to American Heritage, once to Cardinal Gibbons. We lost twice to Belglades. We lost once to Archbishop McCarthy. So this was my life, a whole decade of my life.
Right.
We're halfway into the season, and I'm watching to see who the top dog is coming out of there so I can start preparing for a game plan. I was really hoping that the old system stayed. 3A would have been a good fit for Cocoa Beach, where our program is going right now. We could have probably competed for playoffs this year, to be honest with you. And so then, you're playing schools that are the same size. Yes, some schools recruit and all that. The whole new Metro Suburban is, they're trying to eliminate South Florida.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah, they're trying to eliminate South Florida. And unfortunately, some of these other bigger counties, they got whacked in the process.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if you want to sell it as a policy that's going to be best for everyone, well, I think that's hogwash, because how are you supposed to build a program when you're playing schools twice your size?
You should be in 1S right here.
Okay, all right. So back to that original question you had.
Yeah.
That was that was part of my recommendation. Do you know? Okay, and I brought this because I was
curious.
prepared to talk about this.
Yeah, I want to talk about it.
Is that okay? Have you looked at the number of schools in each division?
I have, yes.
Okay. So tell me why. All right, 1S has 29 schools, and then in 2S, 3S, and 4S, there's 66, 67, 68.
I could not fathom that.
Do you know why?
No.
There's only one answer.
No.
Okay. Well, it's politics.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Because see, and I might hurt some people's feelings that are watching the show, but
that's why we're asking.
I'm just going to be honest. And the reason why I feel like it's important that I actually say this right now, to be honest with you, is because the powers that be need to hear this, because they made a desperate change because they are desperate. Okay? All right, they are desperate. You go back all the way to 2013. They made desperate change because people were complaining about too much transferring. And then that didn't work out. They almost got disbanded through legislation. So they changed their ways. Okay? They said, okay, open enrollment, everybody can transfer. Okay, that was 2018?
Yeah.
Okay, so now that didn't fix it. All right, so more and more people are leaving FHSAA, and nobody's happy.
That's correct.
So they're trying to survive, and so they're making a drastic move, and it's not dealing with the issue at all.
Didn't there was almost a complete, during COVID, actually, there was almost a complete revolt against the FHSAA.
What you don't probably know, okay, is that every single year that their FHSAA is under attack through legislation or in the courts, and one of these years they're going to lose, okay? And like what's up right now is there's a policy that's actually being voted on, it's being pushed in the legislature, that will allow for another governing body to compete for schools. SSAC is one of those conferences that has positioned themselves to actually be a viable candidate.
Wow.
Okay. This year they're going to over 60, maybe 70 schools in football. Okay.
That's
a lot of
right
the stuff
there with 1S.
A lot of the stuff you don't know. They have a different model. Their model would change if legislation allows it. Right now, FHSA still has control over the scheduling because if you're a member of one FHSA in one sport, you have to follow the rules for FHSA in all sports. So that's why they have the model of playing the small brackets at the end of the season. Okay, it could change whenever. It could change overnight. Literally, something in court and legislature happens, and overnight it's and we'll be and now I'm not giving up on FHSAA. We've committed to 1 year, and then we'll reevaluate but I want to go back to this whole 1S thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know what when there was 1 through 8A? Do you know what 1A was? What division it was? It had a special name.
No, what was
rural.
it? Rural. Okay.
Yeah.
So right.
They lobbied. Okay. Oh, we drive so far. We need our own special. But really, it was small schools in small towns didn't want to play small private schools in big towns.
Panhandle. A lot of panhandle.
Well, yeah, it's rural areas.
Right.
It's in Central Florida too. But yeah, a lot up there. Well, it was so great. Okay, it's so great that 4 years ago, that these small rural schools, 20 of them, as a matter of fact, right now, it might be more than 20, have joined the SSAC in the North Florida division. Okay, because everyone's so happy, it works out so great. Now, what's really interesting, I'm telling you a lot of stuff. Okay?
No. I'm learning.
Right.
I'm listening.
Now, you don't hear about this stuff. It's covered up. You know,
right.
Like sometimes they send stuff out. They don't even have all the schools listed. These are independents. Guess what? My school wasn't even listed.
You're right. I was looking for you.
There's a lot of them that weren't. Okay, and I think that's intentional because they don't want people to know how bad it is. Okay, now the 1S. So when they go to the new system, a lot of the guys that are in the 1S, guess what? All right, and I might hurt somebody's feelings for saying this, but this is the truth, and it needs to be said because I'm not against FHSAA. I want to see them make the positive change, okay, that's going to be best for everybody. And they decided to keep 1S out. Now, that doesn't make any sense. If you're going to take all the big cities out of into metro,
right,
then you should have dissolved that into suburban.
Right.
Okay. They have their own still with 30 schools. Okay, 1S, and then now, excuse me, it's called one rural.
One rural, right?
Okay, one rural, right? Okay, so if they had included those, it would have been easier to make the parity. But as it is, they decided to keep it small because those small schools were used to having one less week in the playoffs. It's all about just let's make enough change to keep everybody happy. Okay. Nobody really cares about what little Cocoa Beach has to say. So I said my piece. They made the decision, and we had to do what was best for us. So what's really good about going into SSAC is there's a lot of other schools like us that are disenfranchised, and there's going to be more that join next year unless FHSAA wises up and makes some adjustments, and they might. I hope they do. There's no reason why 1S has one less week in the playoffs. They have half the number of teams of everybody else. Right, and the same thing in 1M. Can you imagine if you are 2M? Okay, it's bad enough 2S. Imagine being a 650 population school in Miami, in Jacksonville. You might as well drop your program. That's not good for the sport.
No, it's not.
You don't want, if you're going to sell it like this is good for the state, it's good. We want to raise participation. We want to raise, the interest level and the excitement. The best way to do that, and that's why we have governing bodies, is to have some fair play and have some of those rules in place. And so let me tell you about what we have done with SSAC. This is a pilot year. Next year, I could see it expanding. If the rules change, it could grow into something even better. But as their model is, you have to be done in basically 2 weeks. So what we have is basically it's like a conference. Okay, we're in a conference. It's called Atlantic League. We're in the SSAC Atlantic League. Okay, mm-hmm. So what's really good for us is we can be independent, but also play for a title. Right. Okay, at the end of the season. Not only are we playing for a title at the end of the season, but it adds weight to every game. You want every game to matter, correct? That's why college football is so great. In the SSAC, just like, okay, every game matters because where you're seated in that tournament, that mini tournament at the end of the season, is based on how you perform during the season. So they're on their website. They update you every week. You know what the standings are, whether you're first seed, second seed, or whatnot. The higher the seed, hosts the game. So there's extra incentive to win every game, to play well during the season. So this was a great fit for us. Gives us a chance to play for a title at the end of the season, and it's a system that gives weight to every game during the season.
Yeah, where you should be with the FHSAs, with Holy Trinity Father Lopez, MCC, and Halifax, where they wanted to put them was with Palm Bay, Cocoa, Space Coast, Titusville, and Astronaut. No, and I certainly and look. There's a big part of me. Well, let me ask you this: would you have been in favor if they just went public-private like they do in Texas?
To be honest with you, if I'm a fan. I'll be open for anything.
Right.
Okay. To be honest with you, we'll have to just objectively look at it and say, okay, is this going to be good for our school, our program right now? Is there going to give us an opportunity to compete if it's one thing to have the deck stacked against you. It's a whole nother thing to have your feet pulled out from underneath you.
No doubt.
And so we're trying to get this program off the ground, and so this year I think we're gonna see that, right?
Yeah.
And so it's sad because I'm giving you Cocoa Beach's answer, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess what? Somebody and leadership needs to really make the hard choices and really actually do what's best for everyone. And it's going to take some gutsy moves. It's going to take risk. It's not going to make everybody happy. All we've done is kick the can down the road, You've traded in, a list of, there's going to be a few less schools from South Florida winning, and there's going to be a rise of a few more haves.
Right.
Okay, but it's fine to have a whole nother group of haves, but at the expense of creating a whole bunch of have-nots, that's unfair.
No, I think that's well said, well put, Coach. I texted you last night. I always look forward to our conversations.
Likewise.
This was incredible work, and I know where I'm going from now on. When I have any questions about this aspect, I'm coming to you to bring you on as a guest, because I think that was all well said, very poignant, and spot on. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
And I hope to see you at a game.
Yes, we are right now, the way it looks.
I think you're going to be really excited and surprised. Okay, we're going to surprise a lot of people this year.
Your kickoff classic is against who?
We are on the road.
Okay.
Okay, but we're on week 1 and 2. Titusville's coming to us. That might be what you're thinking.
That's what I'm thinking.
Why don't you come to that game?
That or MCC, one of those two games.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah, because I would love to come out there, and I love Coach Holmes, but I think I'm going to go up and see them play Astronaut, and I think I would love to come see you play Rich, you and Rich.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. Coach Ben Waldrop of the Cocoa Beach Minutemen. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks again.
Yep.
Go Beach.
All right. It's Jeff Dipianta here. There he is. Come on. Give me a microphone. Yeah, come on. Because we're going to talk about, yeah. Hey, man, that's great stuff, man. I'll be right back here. I think it's important to say this as well. There is a casualty in this, and it breaks my heart. It really does. But because we have lost the ability with the signal in here to not be able to show the graphics, unfortunately, we will have to play the technical difficulties will not allow us. Thank you, sir. Will not allow us to play Tyrone Giscombe's pre-recorded interview here tonight. We will get it up, but we just can't do it here tonight at the coaches show. So I'm going to bring in Terrence Carroll and Jeff Dipianta here from Calvary Chapel. Higher. There we go. Jeff, you pull up a chair. Let's put Terrence here, because we have a lot to talk about. How you doing, Coach? First time I've ever met Coach Carroll. Pop that on your head there. All right. Jeff Dipianta, the athletic director, and Terrence Carroll, the football coach for the Calvary Chapel Eagles. And yes, there's football at Calvary Chapel. The coach, before we talk about your team this year, Jeff, how did this all come to be? Hold that up.
Wow. A lot of prayer.
Yeah.
Starting program wasn't easy. Church just kind of took over and said, hey, let's do it. And from there, we just, it was kind of a pipe dream at first and literally blew up really fast. And before we knew it, we had football and, with the merge from Covenant and us to make Calvary this last year, just made sense. So playing with a bunch of guys that had never even seen football before, I mean, except on TV or something like that,
right?
Was challenging itself, and Coach Carroll did a great job. I have full faith in this guy. It was a great year, and pretty much that's how it happened. Part
of our fall package plan coming up here on Brevard Sports Network is we've decided to make a change here at BSN, and I was going to do a separate live about that coming up. But instead of running all over Brevard County every Friday night, we have begun to partner with certain schools in the area, and Calvary Chapel is one of those schools. You will see 8-man football broadcast 5 games this year on Brevard Sports Network, and we're very, very excited about that, as well as volleyball, JV, middle school. We're very excited about the future. Times are changing, and so are we. So Jeff, I want to thank you for that opportunity. You coached the team last year, right?
No.
Who did? Coach
Terrance did.
Terrance? Okay.
Yes.
Let's talk about your football team. First of all, you used to be a referee, right?
Absolutely.
All right. So how does one walk off the field as a referee and then become a football coach? Because you got to know the rules better than anybody, right?
Yeah. Well, actually, I'm still repping, too. I just rep JV games.
All right. Okay. There you go.
Yeah.
All right. So last year, coaching, going to 8-man football, what kind of a change was that for you? Talk about that.
It was different.
Yeah.
It was different. It's something you have to learn. And it's a faster game.
Yeah.
Because you don't have tackles. So it's a faster game. So that's something to get used to.
What did you what successes when the season was over last year? What did you count as your successes from last year? You said, "You know what? This is what I really liked about what we did this year." What was it?
The togetherness.
Yeah.
The consistency. I had 22 kids that never played football before. We started at the basics, and I saw them grow.
They never played before.
Never played.
Okay.
Never played.
So you taught from the ground up.
Basics.
Okay.
From the ground up. Yep.
Wow.
So that was a success to see them grow in that sport and watch them develop and to actually win 2 games. That was amazing.
Yeah. Congratulations. That's incredible.
That's amazing, yeah.
Jeff, I mean, that is unbelievable. Coach, the goal now that you won 2 games last year and you're opening camp up on Monday, right?
Yes, sir.
So as camp opens up on Monday, what are the goals and the expectations for this year as you go in? Having won 2 games with players that, you had never played the game before.
Truthfully, as a coach, I don't expect nothing less than a championship.
There you go. I like that.
That's just it. There's no excuses for football.
Right.
Whether it's your first year or your last year. You come to play, you play the game.
Now, I know that you and Merritt Island Christian are Christian schools. But we got to get a rivalry going here now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We got to get a football rivalry going here because that's the one away game we're doing is Merritt Island Christian and Calvary Chapel. So we're excited about that. Tell us about your team. I want to know about the offense and the defense and who are the players that we're going to be saying their name a lot this year.
This year, you're going to be saying Caleb Stagger a lot.
Okay, what's he play?
Wide receiver.
Okay.
You will be saying Peyton Baker a lot, running back.
Okay.
And you will be saying Isaiah Solis a lot.
Okay, what's Isaiah play?
He's the quarterback and he's the outside linebacker.
I got you. Now, these young men have to be well-conditioned to play this game,
Absolutely.
8-man football. They got to be conditioned to play any football. But 8-man's different because it's so fast. Now, the field's a little bit shorter, but watching the playoffs last year with Merritt Island Christian, they go both ways. They play a lot of football. Tell me about your conditioning program. How do you keep these young men in shape?
Conditioning like we were doing all summer, it consists of a lot of running and a lot of exercising.
Yeah.
But we do it in spurts because football game is not running 2 or 3 miles.
Right.
That's cross country.
Right.
Football, you run hard for 10 seconds and you rest for 30.
Gotcha.
So that's what we do, and that's how I condition them so they'll be ready for the game.
Why was Calvary Chapel the place you wanted to go coach football?
That's where God put me.
Yeah, I like the answer.
Okay. I was actually coaching the flag team, the 5th and 6th grade flag. And then when the opportunity came, I said yes. But it was crazy because when I was doing the flag, I was like, it would be wild if Calvary Chapel ever had a varsity football team. And I was the head coach.
And there you go.
And then it happened.
God heard you.
Yes, it did.
Yeah, God heard you. Jeff, this program athletically has grown tremendously. I want you to tell us about what it's taken to get to this point in the short period of time that you have.
Well, my wife would probably say I spend too much time doing my job, but to be quite honest, a lot of people behind me that do a lot of things for me. My assistant, athletic director, from the school staff, just taking care of us, supporting everything we do. But to where we're at now, really a lot of prayer. I keep going back to prayer, but being a covenant school, that's what we do. And
right.
We just go right to it. We're adding a new sport this year that I didn't even know anything about, but bowling and I'm just like, wow.
Let me
what
tell you
opportunity.
something. Bowling, and people here on Brevard Sports Network, you know the old expression, if I'm lying, I'm dying. Bowling is one of our most watched broadcasts. It is, without a doubt, has a very just large following, and I love covering it. We
Good.
cover
We
it
expect to see
every
you.
week. Yeah, we love covering it, and bowling is. When I tell people that, they look at me and go, "Really?" And I go, "Well, numbers don't lie."
True, and that's one reason we added it this year. We have just in varsity sports for the fall, we're doing 6 different sports this year. So from 5 last year. So we added bowling.
Where were you 5 years ago?
We were just K through 8.
Yeah.
And doing middle school volleyball. I think
That's
one
incredible,
of the first time
Jeff.
I met you was at a middle school volleyball game.
Right.
Against Viera Charter right
Right.
around the corner. And just had fun, and to be where we're at now, I never thought we'd be here, and it's just amazing just to see the community grow within Calvary.
Right.
And then it's kind of expanded now, and I mean, a lot of it has to do with the good coach.
Hold that up there, right there.
Good coaches we have,
Right.
and it just comes down to everything we do. We just do it with excellence, and I'm excited about what the future has for Calvary Chapel Academy.
I am too, and we're going to be there firsthand. And, Coach, I know the goals and expectations are a state championship. You talked about some of your players. How about your staff? You got anybody you want to mention there?
Absolutely. My defensive coordinator, Joe Riles, couldn't have done it without him.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I got 2 new staff coming in this year, Gary Scott and Damon Lawrence.
Okay. You're going to see a lot of us, it's going to be fun this year. What would you want people to know, and either of you can take this, if they're looking for something other than a Brevard public school, why is Calvary Chapel the right place for them?
Wow, we could be here all night talking about Calvary Chapel.
Well, I've
That's
got time.
Awesome. First, faith-based, which is a big thing right now. I really believe everything we do is faith-based. Whether it's academics, whether it's our athletic program, our fine arts program, whatever it is, it's faith-based. And as long as Christ is in the middle of everything, we preach that, we can go long places and far places.
Faith-based schools, and
Yes,
I went to a Catholic school for a short period of time. Athletics played based in faith. I've learned. Win, lose, or draw, and there's a lot of athletic programs based in faith that are perennial state champions. You ask teams like Cardinal Gibbons, you go up here to the team that's won the most state championships in football and bowls, okay? Programs that are based in faith. Win, lose, or draw, there's a much more peaceful feeling there's just contentment. And you see the difference. You clearly see the difference. So what can we expect for the future?
Championships.
How about for athletics?
I see many championships in our future. I'm just excited. Like I said, this year is going to be exciting. New challenges again. A lot of new teams we're playing, and all around. As far as even volleyball, I just went outside the box and added teams from around the county and said,
right.
Hey, let's do it.
That's how you're going to get better, right?
Exactly.
To be the best, you got to beat the best.
Exactly.
And you got to play the teams that are going to help your program develop. It's a twofold situation. Is there anything we have not touched on that we have got to talk about that you can think of? Because we're going to spend a lot of time together in the next couple of months.
I mean, I love all my coaches. Very blessed to have people in a position right now that I count as my friends and co-workers. I don't look at them as my, lower to me. I look at them as equals and know so much about what we're doing. Very talented people that are doing everything from, our assistant coaches to our head coaches. And I'm just very blessed to be in a position to be able to be the spokesperson or the head of a phenomenal program. Terrance is just one piece of the puzzle, and so great to have him. And our friendship has just blossomed over the years, so it's awesome.
There's a lot you've been able to do. Would you like to give a shout-out or mention the administration there?
Oh, yeah, Mr. Flay. What else can I say about a man that I love to death? He has my back all the time. How do I say that? I guess that's probably the best way.
He's looking out for you.
Yes, he does.
God's looking out for you, but so is he.
Yes, he is. To our assistant head of school, and Mrs. Jessica Collins, she has always had my back as well. And it just goes all the way down to our admin team. Just totally supportive of everything we do in athletics, and it's good when you have a good surrounding of people like that just want to invest in you, and then not only that, want to invest in your program. So it's really exciting. It's an exciting time to be part of Calvary Chapel Academy.
You got swimming too?
Yes, sir. We have swimming as well.
Swimming, volleyball, cross country,
Yep.
cheerleading. Cheerleading's a sport. You better believe that. And of course, 8-man football. You still reffing? You gonna ref?
I am. I actually.
Where do you find time?
I don't know. I'm actually kind of late to a hockey game tonight to officiate, so they're probably watching it over there or something. But yeah, I do a little bit of everything. Again, my wife wants probably to, do something about that. But yeah, saw Dwayne in here earlier. I was happy to see him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's. I don't know how I find time to do it, but I do, and it keeps me young, I guess, at heart. And yes.
Oh, no doubt. Who designed that?
I did not.
That's a cool eagle.
It is. And it's already changed. We have a new logo for this year as well. So it's a little bit.
All right. Does it look like that a little bit?
Yes, it does. It has a little bit of a meaner eye look to it.
Well, it needs to. It's time to get nasty, right? I mean, it's a Christian school, but you're still playing football.
For sure.
Jeff, Terrence, guys, you're going to see a lot of me. Thank you both.
Thanks, Alan.
So much. Terrence Carroll, Jeff Dipianta right here on the Brevard Sports. We have one left. He's Shane Staples of the Viera Hawks. We'll be back with him in a minute.
I gotta go ref. I can't.
Thanks, man. Okay. What's up, buddy? Put the microphone back.
We were never met.
That ain't what I hear. You better check your up there. Thank you both, though. That was good. All right, ready? 3, 2, and 1. I don't need this for this. As a matter of fact, I'm going to take my jacket off for this one. Last but not least here is the new head coach of the Viera Hawks and his defensive coordinator, a guy that one of these days will don one of these permanently, Shane Staples and DeMarkulus MENYFIELD with the Viera Hawks. And, Coach, last time I talked to you, well, let me just say this. The last time I heard from you, you were dogging my Orioles out. But that's all right. I'm going to let you go with that.
Last place Orioles.
Last place. Not anymore.
Oh,
not anymore.
That's true.
Not anymore. Coach, I had your quarterback. Pull this up a little bit closer to you. Yep. I had your quarterback in studio about 2.5, 3 weeks ago. And I did an interview with him. and the young man is humble. A better quarterback than he is on the mic at this point.
Oh, yeah,
He's
yeah,
a great interview. Love it. But he is a fantastic quarterback for being such a sophomore. How excited are you about players like Chase Cromartie and the youth of this team going into, I heard a coach tell me earlier, Ben Waldrop said, you don't change culture. You have to shift it in increments. And he's so right. And I know this is something you guys wanted to do there in your own model, out of the footsteps of Mays and Smith, and I love them both, but this is your guys' time now, okay? But how excited are you about what's coming up this year?
I think we had a coaches meeting today, when we're talking about, man, look at how many sophomores we have coming up, guys that can play, but then you add the seniors that we already have that are established, and it's a good mix right now. You kind of forget what grade they're all in because they blend so well.
Right.
I mean, we went to team camp and a guy goes, "Hey man, what grade your quarterback in?" I go, "Oh, he's a sophomore, 15 years old." And he's like, "Oh, he's back there poised, doesn't let anything bother him."
Iceman.
So it's exciting, you forget. I think we forget as coaches when we start critiquing offense, defense. I think right now we're at the point where we forget that we have so many 10th graders that are going to get to play. So it's exciting to look, to the future. But I think as a team we're ready to win this year.
Yeah, I think you are too.
I
don't think there's a more even – look, I don't think there's a more even district than yours. You, Heritage, Melbourne, and Harmony. I think you guys are very similar to Heritage. Watching that spring game simply proved the point with the tie, right? You guys do things differently. But I think all in all, you're very similar to Heritage. Coach, you're the defensive coordinator. You were gone. You stepped away. You retired. You were broadcasting.
I was broadcasting.
Was is the key word there.
Was.
I told you he wasn't clear.
You did. He did. He was right. I hate being wrong to this guy. I hate it.
The health scare made me step away, right?
No.
And
how is your health? Let's start with that.
It's getting better, right?
Yeah.
Every day is a little different. Some days better than others, but as long as I keep drinking the water and staying on top of the things that the docs have given me, just met with them last month, and everything so far is good.
Coach, you have motivated a lot of people, and you don't even know this, so I'm just going to tell you. Personally, I know you as a friend, and you have motivated a lot of people to make changes in their life for health reasons. And, you did that for me, so I appreciate that.
Most definitely, my
Watching you do that and sitting side by side with you at these volleyball tournaments out of town, certainly I'm grateful to you.
We had some good times on them tournaments.
Oh, we're not done.
Nah.
I mean, we might be done with the tournament, but we're not done with traveling with volleyball.
That's very true.
I'll critique you guys still, too.
Oh, you definitely do that, too.
Y'all got, well, speaking of volleyball, y'all got a big one today, right? No? Okay. Yeah, no, never mind. Your defense is young, very young.
Very young.
How do you, I mean, you've had veterans. This is the youngest defense you've ever had.
It is definitely the youngest defense that we've had since the 2013 team. Right, so that team, which was the J Boys, the Trevor Merritts, that young team that we had then. But the only difference this time is we're young up front instead of young in the secondary with the Evan Cruz era of what we had that time, where we started so many sophomores and was able to shift and turn things then. And that's what I'm kind of looking at it now, just trying to remember to stay patient, because just like Shane said, you kind of get lost sometimes with remembering how young these guys really are. We went into the spring game and we started 7 freshmen, now going to be sophomores. So trying to get those guys to really grasp how quick the game is and the defensive scheme.
But you can't lose a Jamari Lyons and expect to bounce right back on you.
That is true.
You just can't do it.
Speaking of Jamari, I talked to him last week.
How's he doing up there?
Doing great.
It's a new
Doing
world.
great.
New world. Can't lose guys like Zach Sedaros in that secondary from 2 and expect everything to be okay. I mean, it takes time to build that. So I'm going to start with you, Coach, defensively. Who are some of the guys whose names we will be broadcasting this year?
Names that will be definitely broadcasting will be Isaac Hungerbuehler, Chase Loman, Reese Reynolds, Judah Knight, Cam Mills for sure. As far as the linebackers go, Seth Hufty and I forgot McCray's first name.
Jalen
McCray. We're going to have him. We kind of moved him from the D-line to an outside linebacker position. I think he's going to open a lot of eyes this year.
My gosh.
And Brendan Revelos.
My gosh, most of these young men, I was just broadcasting them for their Pop Warner Super Bowl.
Very true.
2 years ago or 3 years ago.
Right.
And here they are starting. Isaac Hungerbuehler. I wouldn't want to be an opposing quarterback with that young man coming in.
He's got a motor.
He's got a motor.
And a screw loose.
Yeah, well, and you know what I like
and
about
a mouth to go with it.
And you know what I like? He is, but yet he's so connected, if you know what I mean. He knows what's going on.
He does.
He pays. I see him pop up on our streams. He pays attention to what's going on.
Definitely. He's a football
He's
head.
going to be a bad man when he gets going and grows a little bit. Coach, we know about Chase Cromartie, but you got a lot of offense to replace. Talk about it.
I mean, we returned the O-line, which is huge.
Outstanding, right?
Right.
0 sacks in the spring game.
Yeah, to a very good defense.
Yeah.
Right.
So Quincy Gillens, Dominic Gentili, Mikey Schmidt, Zach Pillow,
all guys again 2 years ago playing.
Two of those guys played.
Yeah.
Two of those guys are young guys. Dominic Gentili's probably the most underrated player in the county.
He's the sleeper guy of the county, hands down.
I mean,
Maybe.
it's crazy to say that, considering he had 2 or 3 touchdowns in the spring game and 100 yards receiving.
Well, and the other thing too is every time he's on the field, I'm looking for him.
Right.
He ain't hiding from us, but I know he's out there.
You don't ever hear. No one ever talks about him, right?
Yeah, well, he should.
He's just one of those guys that shows up to work, does what he's supposed to do. Doesn't talk much.
Does not.
I mean, he long snaps. He backs up quarterback. He's receiver. He will return kicks if I want him to. He does everything.
Yeah.
He blocks. Quincy Gillens is going to have a huge year. He gets a little bit more of the shine, I think. Great route runner. I expect both of them to have 1,000 yards receiving. I know that's kind of lofty goals.
But it's not uncommon at Viera.
No, it's not.
No.
It's not to have 2 guys up there around 1,000.
Right.
And then Zach Pillow, maybe one of the best 10th grade receivers in the county.
Wow.
Wow. Probably one of the best athletes, if you add in basketball and football. And then Mikey Schmidt, probably the closest thing, and this is big shoes to fill, probably the closest thing to Sean Atkins
really?
that we've had.
That's a big comparison.
That is a very big comparison.
But stop, start. He's a little guy, but gets open, does what he's supposed to do, not scared of the contact, going to catch the ball. So it's an exciting group. Our backfield is kind of loaded. We're just going to, by committee, Cam Mills, Judah Knight, Jaden Carney. So
There's another one, Jaden Carney. Yeah. My goodness gracious, that young man runs through the hole with the most reckless abandon I've ever seen a running back run through a hole.
Well, it's funny. We went to team camp the other day, and we're rotating running backs, and he was working at defense most of the camp, and I go, "Hey, Jaden, you want to get a carry?" And it was his first carry. I don't know how long, right? He busted 20 yards. He could pick left, right. No, he just goes right for the safety.
Right up the middle.
Try to truck the safety. I'm like, dude, you could have scored, but
No, look. I got to tell this story real quick. In a youth football game one time, he is carrying the football, and he ran into a kid so hard playing youth football. He knocked the kid up in the air, flipped him over, and knocked him down. You remember this play? And everybody started screaming for a penalty. And I'm looking, I said, well, what did he do?
Right.
What did he do wrong? He just ran the kid over. As a new head football coach, you've been a head football coach. How important, and I always like to talk about your booster club. Scott Woodruff will come in and do a terrific job. They're one of the best in the county.
The best.
The best. in the county. I love Viera, but that's his words. I'm just going to say one of the best because I love them all. I absolutely love them all. But talk about how helpful they've been for you. And has this been as smooth of a transition for you as you wanted, or would look at?
I mean,
I gotta know. I mean, there's bumps in the road everywhere.
I'm pretty talkative. This is, No,
I want to hear. This is what makes for good Facebook.
I was talking to Coach over here, and we were talking. It's like football is the least that we do almost sometimes.
Exactly.
Right? Emails, questions,
appearances, you gotta do it all.
So you don't put that into play when you say, I want to be a football coach, right?
Right.
No, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy myself. The Booster Club helps out tremendously. There's
fantastic.
If I asked for anything,
right,
I could have it tomorrow probably. And I know that's a luxury. I know that not every school in this county can have that.
Right.
I know that.
Right.
That comes with a lot, though. There's a back end to that. They expect a lot. They expect, a certain product on the field, or the kids act in a certain way. With the help, it hasn't been rocky. I mean, coming into a new job is never just smooth.
Never easy, never smooth
sailing. I came into a situation that a program is already, I'm not from the ground up.
Right. Been there since 2015.
I'm not, we're not where we have been.
Right.
But we're not at the lows of lows either.
Got a text. Go ahead.
So I think it's exciting. I think we, as a coaching staff, and I'm one of those coaches, these guys get on, well, you're the head coach, you decide, right? Like, I'm one of those guys that, hey, guys, what do you want to do kind of thing.
That's an old trick on him.
Exactly. That's why whenever he asks those questions, you're like, no.
You're not the first new coach to ever tell me that, by the way.
Right.
Go ahead.
But it's fun.
Yeah.
It's pretty easy because the coaches around, I think the best thing I've done is the guys around me.
Right.
Coaching with. We have a coaches meeting, and I think it's like 2-hour coaches meeting, 30-minute coaching, and hour and a half us getting along, talking about this, talking about that.
Getting along.
Yeah. Picking on each other.
We'll go with that.
Put the air quotes around that.
Us getting along. So I think as far as that's gone, that's been smooth. It's just getting these guys to buy into what we believe in,
right?
And how we want our way to be, and it might be different from the years past.
I'm going to ask you this, Coach, because when the original hire was made, it didn't work out. For whatever reason, it's over and done with. How happy were you to hear that Viera was going back to the well, so to speak? And what I mean by that is somebody from the program. Was that how as an outsider at the time, because that's what you were.
True.
How did you perceive all that?
So when I first heard that the previous coach had stepped away, my first thoughts were, okay, what about the kids?
Right.
Because
mine too, yep.
I've been part of the Viera community. Like I said, my family, we moved here in 2012, right? So I love this community. I love the kids. I love what we've been able to build here.
Right.
So when I heard that he stepped away, shortly after, I want to say maybe an hour later, I get a phone call from him.
And how quickly did your blood start boiling over?
Right, exactly.
Right.
So I'm sitting back thinking to myself, like, okay. So I told him, I was like, well, let me call the doc. Let me see what they say, how this plays out. But once I heard that he was tabbed as the guy, and then I got the information back, I said, man, let's do it. Let's build it back up.
Let's go.
Let's go after it.
Then
I had to call you.
Right.
And let you know.
And because you, not that what was happening, but that he couldn't broadcast with me.
Right.
Can't tell you no more.
Don't get me wrong. We still can do it.
Right. No, we
can make it all happen.
I warned. Fair enough. I warned you.
I know you did. You did. You absolutely. You told me the week after he put the post up. You told me.
Right. But the kids, the community, the parents, right? even with all of the health things going on, they checking on me and everything like that, I felt like, you know what, as I'm healing and getting back through this, let me be a part of us bringing it back.
You sent me a text the other day that I thought was interesting. It forced me to do a little work while I was out of town. And that was programs with the most playoff wins since 2015. You guys are second, 12-9. You've built a tradition at that school in a very short period of time. We're not going to talk wins or losses this year. And I mean, we'll look at your schedule. You're in a tough district. How does Shane Staples put his footprint on Viera Hawk football?
We're going to come out and compete.
Yeah.
I think anybody that knows me knows that, I'm ready to go to battle anytime, right? I think
You've been to our practices, so especially the kids, right?
I've
so
ridden on buses with. I've seen you guys.
Right. So the kids feed off of me and Shane. Me and Shane have always just competed against each other, and that bleeds over to the kids, right? He knows that defense doesn't want to lose, and I know offense doesn't want to lose. So we feed off each other.
What would you say to the state? And both of you are well tuned in and well dialed in this community, in this county. What's the state of high school football in Brevard County as we go into this year? What's your thoughts on that as a whole?
I think it's great. Like you said, here's our district. It's a coin flip, right? The cool thing about our district, I think, is you see different brands of football, right? We're going to come out and sling it around. Harmony's going to not throw it at all.
No,
right?
They're going to give it to one guy.
They got a running
He's your
back.
nightmare.
Yes,
right?
buddy. Yes, he is.
Heritage is going to mix it up a little bit, but for the most part, they're going to try to pound you and run the option and run this, and they're going to give you everything. Melbourne's going to give you, spread it around, but they're balanced attack.
Right.
So it's cool to see the different styles.
Right.
Now, that district, I mean, like you said, I think it's going to be some dogfights on Friday night.
I'm excited about it.
And then you talk about just the county, right? You talk about the Rockledges, the Cocos, Merritt Island, Satellite. It's like you look at my schedule, and I just say mine because I can only speak. Yeah, I'm playing all these playoff teams, but most of those playoff teams are from this county.
Yeah.
So I think on the Mark Moses show, right? I was talking to him, and it's like, is this not the most underrated county in the state?
I think it is.
And
I'm not being a homer. I think it is.
I think for the past 10 years, there's been someone in the finals.
Yeah.
Right.
Every year. Some years two. What other than down south, what other counties can you say that, right? So I think, as a whole, it's going good. The turnover of coaches kind of is what it is. But
Yeah.
I think that situation is a whole different situation.
Yeah,
right?
it has nothing to do. Right.
But at the end of the day, even with the turnover, all these schools are still producing college athletes, and it's exciting.
It is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 playoff teams right there.
Yeah.
From last year you played. Creekside, Satellite, Rockledge, Bishop Moore, Baker County, Heritage, Bayside, Harmony, Melbourne, Merritt Island, Kickoff Classic the 19th against Oak Galley. What's it going to mean to the both of you to have Kevin Mays and Baker County coming into town on the 23rd of September?
It's going to be a friendly game. We're going to
listen. You know what's interesting, right? As we talk about me and him competing against each other, Kevin Mays probably is just as competitive as both of us, right?
Oh, he wants to whip your tail.
Exactly. We went up to his house and beat him. Like Mays will tell you, he don't care if it's chess or checkers, right? He wants to win.
Right.
So he's gonna come in, and he has a good football team.
He does.
Probably one of the best running backs in the state, also.
He's a favorite to win
Right.
that state championship in that Metro division. I also want to give you an opportunity, and again, my apologies because earlier something happened with the signal in here, and it cut our graphic ability off, and also cut the ability off for us to be able to show you Tyrone Giscombe's interview. But we'll do that later. I did this for Coach Murray at Merritt Island last week. So I want to do it, especially for you guys as well. You got a big casino night coming up September 24th. DJ Raffles Prizes Casino Night at the Brevard Zoo. That's pretty cool. Yep. Scott Woodruff and his staff do a terrific job. Sponsorships and tickets available soon. VieraHawksFootball.com. So I'm going to do this the old-fashioned way. VieraHawksFootball.com. That big casino night coming up September 24th. It just so happens it's the same weekend Kevin May's in town.
That's right. Alumni night. It's alumni night. So all old, I guess they're not that old if they went to Viera, but all past football players from Viera, come on out.
How happy are you guys for Trey Nixon? The fact that early on, as training camps have opened and back in spring practice, you read the New England papers, and he's got a terrific shot to make that football, that 53 this year.
Right. I think the cool part is just knowing these kids, right? Knowing Trey, being around, and he can speak more on it. Just seeing how hard they work. It's not a surprise, but it's a surprise, right? Like, this kid goes out, does what he's supposed to do. He's going to be in the film room. He's going to practice. That's kind of the Viera kid, right? That's the kind of football kid you're going to get.
Right.
So it's the same thing to piggyback on Zach Sedaros at Florida. Like, yeah, he's a walk-on. There was no doubt in our mind that if he walked on, he'd be a player.
Yeah, I thought the same thing when I saw that.
All he needed was a shot. Like all of us always said, all he needed was a shot.
Right.
And he'll open your eyes. Any college coach, he's going to open your eyes immediately.
And all he needs to, and even if you talk to him, you're like, wow, I hope he can play because I love this kid.
Yeah.
Right.
It's the same with Trey, right?
Right.
It's like what we said. If he gets drafted, if he gets a shot, he didn't even need to be drafted. Get him on the practice squad somehow.
Right.
Let him show what he can do, and you're going to get that type of kid that is going to play all out and do what he's supposed to do, know what he's supposed to do.
Right.
And so I'm glad for both of those guys.
Yeah. And I talked with Trey maybe 3 weeks ago, and he's excited about the season, right? I mean, and he's starting to get a little bit of publicity out there now, making some plays with Mac Jones.
Right. He's that guy.
Yeah,
he's that guy. He's that underdog that the New England faithful
they love it.
The New England faithful has taken to, right?
Yes.
Boston. But you got our Trey Nixon, so you better take good care of him.
It is.
As we get set to wind this thing down, guys, I'm excited for your season because I'll say it, and I'll say it to the both. You are the great unknown in that district. You are. Yeah. Because you're young, first-year head coach. You're a great coach, no knock. That's just a fact. But I think we're going to be one of those unknowns that shock the world. I'll say that.
I hope so. Yeah. We're going to, like I said, I think if I can speak for the both of us, you give us any 11, we'll go out there and we're going to fight and claw and we're going to, we're going to compete. We're going to compete to the end and we'll see.
There are 3 games on this schedule that should stick out. 2 games to me that stick out. Yes, obviously the Baker County game. Heritage on the 30th and Melbourne on the 28th. You got to, if you're Viera, you got to go get that district champion because they love having it, man.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They love having it, and it's going to be a ton of fun this year here on Brevard Sports Network. Guys, I don't have the capacity or the ability any longer to put the graphics up and turn the volume off, so you two get to stay with me as I close the show out. So let's do that. I want to thank all of our guests here tonight. Of course, Dwayne Summers from the MCOA, Mark Ainsley from the Heritage Panthers, of course, Ben Waldrop. I got to tell you, fascinating conversation with Ben Waldrop about the metro and suburb. Go back and watch it if you have not. And, of course, Jeff Dipianta and Terrence Carroll from Calvary Chapel. And these 2 guys right here, Shane Staples and DEMARKULUS MENYFIELD. Listen, look, and my apologies, Coach Jiscom. I'll get your interview up probably tomorrow sometime. Just technical difficulties with the signal in here because we pre-recorded that. But look, one of the great blessings of my job, aside from annoying everybody in the coaching world, is I get a kick out of it. Is to get to know these guys the way that I do. All of them, from that first coaches show to that middle coaches show to this coaches show. I may not know them all the same way, but I do consider all of them a friend, and I want nothing more than for all of them to have success on and off the field, and for all of their student athletes to succeed. While that can't always happen on the field, I'm just absolutely thrilled to be a part of this community and these coaches and what they do. And Caleb and I consider it one of the great blessings of our life. So I want to thank all of the coaches, and I want to thank the coaches here tonight, and I want to thank walk-ons as well. Our shows for walk-ons end here tonight. We won't be back here for the post-game shows this year. Stay tuned. There is information coming up on that very, very soon as to where we'll be. But we are going somewhere, and I'm excited about that too. But again, and thanks to all of you for watching these coaches shows, because this is a highlight for me doing this, and I love talking to these guys and getting to know them. So thank you, thank walk-ons, and thanks to all of the coaches. So for Caleb Brown, I'm Alan Slaughterzinski. This is Shane Staples and DeMarkulus MENYFIELD. Listen, have a great night, and as always, make it a sports night.